Hi, I'm George, and welcome back to Old Fart Engineering. Now, in a previous video, we built this radius jig with little interchangeable bongs to do radius curves on a piece of metal that we drilled a hole in. And it works extremely well for that. But now, what if I want to make a radius without a hole and I only want half a radius? All right, so this will not work for that. However, I have an idea for an attachment to this radius jig that will actually make this not only possible, but extremely easy and repeatable. You might ask yourself, well, why would I want a radius like that? Well, very simply, if you're building a leg on a piece and you don't want a sharp point, you can radius off the corners of your legs. You might, just for decorative reasons, want it, or any number of things could be possible with this. And what's wrong with having another jig to make something cool and easy? So let's go ahead and tackle this problem. Let's see if my idea will work. All right, so we're over here at the bandsaw. Now these are the materials that I've gone ahead and pulled out of my scrap bin. This is a piece of 2-inch by 8-inch angle iron. And this is a little cutoff from a 1-inch piece of plate stock. It's 1 by right about 7/8 by 2 inches long. Now my thoughts are, what I'm going to do is actually weld this to the back here and drill my hole for my radius jig so this can mount to it. We're going to make some relief cuts in this for clearance, and we'll see if this works. I think we'll have a little fun building this. What I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to go ahead and cut off at more or less a 45-degree angle the corner of this piece of angle iron. All right, so we've got our clearance angle cut. Next step will be to go ahead and weld this to the back of the piece. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this metal up a little bit and get set up for welding. Then we'll come back and I'll show you what I'm doing. All right, see you in a moment. All right, so we're back and we're all set up to weld our 1-inch stock to our angle iron. I went ahead and beveled my corners a little bit just to give me better weld penetration. Even though this thing's not going to be under a lot of stress, I just felt like it was a good idea to do that. So we're going to go ahead and spot this in and then finish weld it, and then we'll go to the mill and get all the other work done to it. All right, let's unclamp this and then we can do our finished welding to it. All right, and that's it for the welding that we need to do on this piece. Got a nice bead of weld all the way around. Now, again, this is not really a structural thing, but I always feel like I want to get good welds just because it's good practice. And if you're new to welding, there's never an excuse to accept a bad weld. Keep practicing, keep working, and always aim for a beautiful, good, penetrating weld. That way, when you really need to penetrate something and get a structural weld, you'll have the skills you need at that point. So we're going to let this cool. We'll take it over to the belt grinder, grind these things smooth, and then we'll end up at the mill where we're going to go ahead and drill our hole. All right, I'll see you in a minute. All right, now we're over here at our belt grinder. We're going to go ahead and grind these areas smooth that we welded. The piece is still a little bit hot, but it's certainly something I can handle. So let's go ahead and get this belt grinding done here. I believe that's going to be adequate for now. The bottom's not perfectly flat, but our stock wasn't cut perfectly straight either, but it is level. So we're going to go ahead and we're actually going to drill 2 holes in this so we have a choice of offsets. So I'm going to mark those holes, center punch them, and then we're going to run over to the mill. The first hole I'm going to drill as close over here as possible so that we are right on the apex of what we're grinding. And the other one I will offset more than half an inch off that corner for the sake if we want to radius something that's a little bit further from that main corner. But I'll show you how that works, and it may or may not be the right choice, but it won't hurt. We have enough stock here to put 2 holes. So let's go over to the mill and take care of this. All right, we're over here at the mill. We've got our piece chucked in, held nice and tight by this clamp here, this vise. I'm gonna array center punch my 2 holes. I'm gonna throw a little bit of oil in here and we'll get the first one drilled. Now, we need to drill at least 5/8 of an inch deep because that's how tall our stud is. So let's go ahead and get this going. All right, that's more than 5/8 of an inch, so we're good with that one. Let's relocate our table here so we can drill our second hole. All right, let's put a little oil in there and let's get this one done. And that should be more than 5/8 of an inch also, so we should be good with that hole. We'll run over and give it a little try real quick, and then we'll continue. All right, now we're back over here at the belt grinder. We've got our 2 holes drilled. I've got this set close to the belt, but also if you see, I've got it set all the way to the far side here because I want to have as much of the belt available to do the grinding that we're going to try to do. So it's on there, it pivots. I think our clearance is okay. If not, the belt will cut into it and let us know what we need to do. So let's go ahead and give this a try. So I'm going to slide it forward. Now with flat bar, you're going to have to hold it. And I can already see this one, we're not quite far enough over, but let me go ahead and let me grab a smaller piece. There, see, we're contacting the full belt with this one. Let's go ahead and turn this on. We're going to slide it forward till it touches. All right, that didn't work exactly perfect, and I'll tell you why, because as I was pushing it into the belt, it was actually sliding back on me. But let's try this with a piece clamped in. So let's go take this little piece of 3/4 inch square tubing. Let's actually clamp it to our jig. Let's push it forward and clamp it in place. And let's see if this works better. All right, it's definitely working better being clamped in, but I can also see that we're starting to cut in. So we don't have the adequate clearance to come far enough over. So we're gonna go ahead and cut back some of the metal there so we can have better clearance. And also I think this really will work much better on my 2x72 because it has a lot more power than this little one. But definitely the concept works. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clearance this a little bit more. We'll get it painted, and then we'll call it done for this project. All right, so I've clearanced out this area. That should be adequate. I'm gonna sand it, we'll paint it, and then we'll come back. And here we have our finished attachment for our radiusing jig. Thank you for joining me on Old Fart Engineering. I hope you found this educational and enjoyable. Please remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications, like, make comments, ask questions, and I'll see you again soon on Old Fart Engineering.